Oh, by the way, yeah, we still have merch. It's up for a limited time. You should probably go ahead and get it. Here's one of the pins. Elliot's wearing the jacket and the shirt I wore yesterday. This is the black metal shirt.
Decked out.
It's actually a long sleeve, but I have a jacket on. You get the picture.
Yeah, well, anyway, it's time for a news dump.
Yeah, and this week's episode, it's filled with the world gone crazy and things happening that you would have never expected. And yes, we're going to get to the whole Jussie Smollett thing and give our not-so-hot take on his exoneration later in the show. But first, we have to lead you on a little bit. Edging. We all know the term by now. And this is with some very shocking, very serious news about Batman.
Yeah, guys, Batman, turns out he is not the nice, rich, smart, vigilante crime fighter that you know and love, because for decades now, you've been lied to. Batman's a whole lot darker than you ever could have imagined, because Batman fucking kills people.
Yup.
It's shocking, we know. And you might already be screaming at your computer, phone, or TV right now saying, Batman would never kill anyone. He simply beats them within an inch of their lives, or outsmarts them. They're just asleep. And yeah,
They sleep.
You're not wrong, but this is all dependent on which version of Batman you're talking about. And all this latest stupid bat drama is being whipped up by none other than Zack Snyder himself. We'll get to what he said, but it's nothing new.
Yeah, various versions of Batman, they've killed people throughout the long, mostly life-sparing career.
He killed Jack Nicholson.
There's even entire videos and blog posts dedicated to all the times that Batman has killed people. This is not a new story.
If you've played the Arkham games, you've killed hundreds and hundreds of people.
Yeah, in the comics, he's pushed people into vats of acid or onto swords. And look, we get it, technically, the acid and the swords killed those bad guys.
Aha!
But Batman definitely played a vital role in where those bad guys ended up. So, in the Arkham series, like Elliot said, they tried really hard not to allow you, the player, to kill with Batman. But you can definitely mow people down in the Batmobile, even though I guess it's impossible to tell whether or not they can survive getting slammed into at high speeds by a multi-ton tank. That's up to your interpretation.
They're rubber bullets.
Yeah.
Also, when I picked up that henchman and slammed him on the ground neck first, he's just asleep.
He's
Put
asleep.
him to sleep.
Death at the hands of the Bat is even implied in the Tim Burton movies as well.
He fucking killed the Joker.
He I was reading all the times today. He apparently shoved I haven't seen Batman Returns in a little while.
Oh, Batman Returns.
Shoved a bomb into some guy's pants and pushed him down a tube.
Yeah, throw him down a manhole. That guy, don't think he made it.
Nope, he got away and he lived happily ever after. He got down there and he was like, it's time, tick tock, to rethink my life of crime.
Wow.
Anyways, at this point, shouldn't we just get over it and let Batman feed his bloodlust? We've already seen his dick. Why are we making him hide anything at this point?
But we digress. Why are people up in arms once again, all of a sudden, regarding even the suggestion of Batman killing people? Well, like we said earlier, and like we say anytime we bring up the past decade or so of the DCEU, this is all Zack Snyder's fault. A video was recently posted on Reddit and then reposted to every other nook and cranny of the internet, which was so offensive to users on social media that it nearly overshadowed the video of Cardi B telling everyone how she used to drug men and rob them when she was younger. Now, in the video, Snyder is on a panel answering questions, and at some point the topic shifted to him explaining why he allowed Batfleck to kill people in Dawn of Justice. Here's the Snyder quote.
I took all the likes out of this because he says like at least 1,000 times, so I have to be honest, it's not a direct quote, but here it is. Someone says to me, Batman killed a guy. I'm like, fuck, really? I'm like, wake the fuck up. He continues, and that's just a little bit of the likes. There's a lot of likes. He continues, it's a cool point of view to be like, my heroes are still innocent. My heroes don't commit any atrocities. That's cool, but you're living in a fucking dream world. You still want that Snyder cut now? Because at this point, we're pretty sure it's just Batman killing people, even innocent people, for 90 minutes straight. That is the real Snyder cut.
It's just a serial killer movie.
Yeah, Batman's a serial killer now.
Yeah.
Now, regardless of all that, it doesn't really matter because Batman will be reinvented 1,000 times over forever. There's going to be plenty of versions of Batman where he absolutely doesn't kill people. Now, that also doesn't mean one of the people creating his constantly changing stories won't have him do it again at some point in the future either. So you just kind of have to let the people in charge of whatever vision they have for the character tell their stories because, and I guess we have to remind some of you, this is all fiction.
Yeah, he's not real.
So technically, Batman hasn't ever actually killed anyone because Batman isn't real.
Sorry to have to tell you that, but...
And it's, I mean, I know everyone has their certain thoughts and opinions on Batman, but if DC Comics signs off on it, and Warner Brothers signs off on it, and everyone in the production signs off on it, well,
that's a Batman.
That's the Batman story, and you kind of just have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So maybe you write a Batman.
I get it, though. I mean...
I do get it. I understand it.
In real life, billionaires just, like, commit tax fraud. They don't save lives.
They indirectly kill people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like Batman. The sword killed him.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's pivot over to real crime now, because I'm sure you've all been waiting on the edge of your seats for us to just eat crow about this whole Jussie Smollett development. Just in case you've been living under a giant rock, Jussie Smollett was the actor from Empire who allegedly faked a hate crime where he was beaten by two white dudes who he noted as being Trump supporters in the middle of a extremely frigid Chicago night. In the wake of this story, Jussie was charged with 16 felony counts for lying to police when his story started falling apart, and the two Nigerian men who were involved corroborated the pre-existing evidence that this had all been planned as a way to potentially raise his presence in Hollywood. Now, you can go watch our old video about it if you want the whole story, but let's just sum it up by saying there was definitely something weird going on with Jussie Smollett's side of events.
Well, suddenly, on Tuesday this week, all of the charges were dropped, and Jussie Smollett was a free man.
I guess we were wrong, guys.
Well, show's over.
I guess we were wrong, and I'm a big enough man to admit it. Jussie Smollett was absolutely assaulted by two MAGA hate crime Klansmen in the middle of the night in Chicago in negative 600-degree weather, like he claimed.
With the rope and everything else that was purchased at a hardware store.
Yeah.
Guys, you got us.
You got us.
Yep, ladies and gentlemen, we got him. We're eating crow.
Now you can lock us up now.
Milkshake ducks. Kidding. As soon as the charges were dropped, they were obviously quick to swoop in and indicate that this obviously meant he was found innocent and that he'd been telling the truth the whole time. Hell, I saw a lot of replies from people in my tweets, didn't respond to them. Here's what we're saying, officially. Now, obviously, this means that the attack totally happened exactly like he said it did. The two Nigerian brothers were the ones lying to police, and the entire investigation had been a sham by the Chicago Police Department and their detectives. And that, you would assume that the two MAGA racist homophobes, they're still out there on the loose. Which, if that were all true, we really hope they find them and bring them to justice.
Yeah.
And we're sure that the case will be reopened and that Jussie will provide any and all support needed in order to make sure that these two racists pay for their crimes so that the city of Chicago can rest easy knowing that two more criminals, they're not going to be on the streets, they're going to be in prison. So they can't harm anyone else.
Yeah, just like when we all found out that O.J. Simpson absolutely did not commit those murders. You know what he got to right away?
Solving the crime.
Solving the crime, finding the real killers. So we're hoping that Jussie
It was Mark
Smollett,
Furman all along.
Well, it's funny you bring up Mark Furman, because I got some theories around that. But,
that's for another episode. We'll do our O.J. episode.
No, I'm like related to this.
Oh, okay.
Because I think it's probably safe to assume there's a lot of Mark Furmans in the Chicago Police Department. And the thing about Mark Furmans, if you're familiar with Mark Furmans, is their way of doing police work doesn't hold up well in court.
Well, let's just continue.
Yeah, so we're going to make a pretty bold claim here, guys. We don't actually think that Jussie Smollett's going to go try to find those two perpetrators. He's probably just going to attempt to go back to acting and try to leave this all behind him. So, this is still a complete and total exoneration for Jussie, though, right? And it just makes us and everyone else who reported on this look like total idiots, right? Well, hold on, because as with most stories, people are just taking a lot of this at face value, reading the headlines and extrapolating from there.
Yeah.
So, yes, the charges were dropped by the prosecutors. But almost immediately after this became public information, the Chicago Police Department and Chicago's Mayor, Rahm Emanuel, they were quick to respond, with the police superintendent saying that, quote, the department was blindsided by the decision of the Cook County State's Attorney's Office to no longer press the case against Smollett for allegedly faking a hate crime.
And Mayor Emanuel said, from top to bottom, this is not on the level. At the end of the day, it's Mr. Smollett that committed this false claim. This is a whitewash of justice. Is there no decency in this man? adding, "You have a person using hate crime laws that are on the books to protect people who are minorities from violence, to then turn around and use those laws to advance your career and your financial reward." And that he also still believes that Jussie owes the city of Chicago an apology.
You apologize to Chicago right now.
But guys, the charges were dropped, right? That means he's totally innocent. Well, no, he was not found innocent. They just dropped the charges. And the prosecutors who were the ones who dropped the charges, they even said this, and this is a quote, "This was not an exoneration. To say that he was exonerated by us or anyone is not true. We believe he did what he was charged with doing." It doesn't really get any simpler than that. And that's not the police department, because a lot of people have justifiably things to say about the Chicago Police Department.
The thing with all this is Rahm Emanuel, the Chicago Police Department, and Jussie Smollett, not a fan of any of these people and groups, really, at all. So yeah, I just want to make that clear.
Yes, that quote came...
Not going all fucking Blue Lives Matter on you guys. Fuck the Chicago Police Department.
That quote, though, that came from the prosecutor's office, the people who dropped the charges.
Yeah.
They also added that for his punishment, it was him forfeiting a $10,000 bond and agreeing to perform community service. Not really two things that an innocent person does.
Community service, perhaps some live street theater in the night.
Nah, I think he already did it. They gave him 16 hours of community service, and I think he did it at like a bookshop or something. Anyways.
Yeah, they also commented on another reason that they dropped the charges, which again, very clearly indicates that he ain't innocent. They said, quote, "Our goal and our number one priority is combating violent crime and the drivers of violence. And we look to our resources to do that, and I don't think that Mr. Smollett is a driver of violence or a violent individual." And now in the days since the announcement was made, it's been confirmed that the FBI is now reviewing the circumstances related to his drop charges, and that the case against Smollett into whether he sent himself the death threats through the mail, that was like a week before the attack, whether that's still open and is being investigated by both the FBI and the U.S. Postal Inspection Service.
It is.
The one arm of law enforcement you don't want to mess with.
Yeah, so that case is actually still open by both the FBI and the U.S. Postal Inspection Service.
Yeah, so it looks like despite all of the searing hot takes that you might have seen online, this case isn't exactly over, and there still might be some developments. Regardless, he's a free man now, and we can say with at least a shred of confidence that he probably won't be involved in a little thing like this again, because then he would be an even bigger fucking idiot. So there's our take. Back to the Mark Furman thing. A theory I have, which is based on nothing, is that the Chicago Police Department, in their investigation of this, just did things so poorly and not by the book that actually going to trial with this would have made them look really bad and possibly resulted in not even getting a conviction. So the prosecutor probably looked at all this and was just like, let's just get this behind us.
Yeah, let's leave this in 2019 where it belongs.
Because there is an argument to be made that the whole reason this became a media circus was because someone in the Chicago Police Department was leaking shit to the press repeatedly during the investigation, which you're not supposed to do. It especially because if it does go to trial, it taints the jury pool.
Yeah. And also at the prosecutor's office, the ones who dropped the charges, but also said that they didn't exonerate him and that they definitely think that he still did what the police department claimed. The person in charge of that had to step down and recuse themselves because they were in constant communication with Smollett's family.
Yeah. The whole thing's a goddamn mess.
It was a mess.
Moving on, over in China, moviegoers are probably pretty damn confused right now about what happened to Freddie Mercury, lead singer of Queen and notorious straight man, after they sat down to watch the Academy Award-winning biopic Bohemian Rhapsody recently. Because, in order to release the film over there, a few edits were made that you could pretty safely argue are kind of vital to his story. Basically, they cut any and all indications or mentions that Freddie Mercury was either gay or bisexual, and even just muted the part where he informs his bandmates that he has AIDS. I mean, it could be seen as a very artistic choice.
Yeah. What did he say? I don't know. I don't read lips.
I don't know, but this director's brilliant.
Yeah.
This director, Bryan Singer, Seems like a real great guy.
Now, according to IndieWire, by way of CNN, Bohemian Rhapsody has been censored so much in China that in some parts the movie's narrative no longer makes sense. And that the scene where Freddie meets his eventual boyfriend, Jim Hutton, that was completely edited out because he grabs Hutton's crotch. Now they add that without Hutton's introduction, the scene later in the film where Mercury makes it a priority to find Hutton and bring him to the Live Aid concert doesn't make sense. Who is this man? And why is he so important? He must be a really good friend.
I don't know. There must be some hidden meaning behind this. What is director Bryan Singer, visionary Bryan Singer, trying to tell us with this scene? That
Chinese audiences, they're loving it. They're like, wow, this movie really makes you think. You know, it doesn't just give you all the answers.
Doesn't spoon feed you, you know. It's a new type of narrative.
Yeah. Cool. Now, all of Mercury's kisses with Hutton and manager Paul Pretner, they've been removed. The sequence featuring Queen in drag shooting the music video I Want to Break Free has also been deleted. Now, luckily, because Chinese censors were so preoccupied with all the gay stuff, the numerous references regarding Chinese President Xi Jinping and his resemblance to Winnie the Pooh, they are still all in the movie. And if you look hard enough, there's a lot of editing, but if you look hard enough, you will see all of the references to Winnie the Pooh.
We did it.
Yeah, that was the Trojan horse the whole time.
Well, over in the good news category, Seth Rogen's launching a weed company because it's totally and completely on brand for him. It's legal, and why the hell not?
Very legal and very cool.
It is.
Yeah.
It's one of the few things that is. Rogen and his frequent film collaborator, Evan Goldberg, they've officially launched Houseplant, which is described as a recreational Canadian cannabis company. In a press release, Rogen stated, Houseplant is the result of...
You made me giggle like a schoolgirl.
Houseplant is the result of years of experience and dedication, with each element and expression thoughtfully designed to make it easier for people to learn to love cannabis as much as Houseplant does. Houseplant is a passion we've brought to life through drive and dedication. Every decision we've made for the business reflects the years of education, first-hand experience, and respect we have for cannabis.
Straight talk with respect.
Now, if you're Canadian, and specifically live in British Columbia, you'll be able to buy their first strain within the next few weeks, either online or in a local regulated retailer. So if you partake, let us know how it is.
I wouldn't be able to try it as it is a sativa, and sativa is the one that makes your mind go crazy.
Also, did they ever get him to do the voiceover for the British Columbia train system? There was a while there where someone jokingly tweeted about that, and Seth Rogen jumped in. He's like, I'd be down.
Yeah.
And then the official Twitter account for their mass transit was like, well, we should talk. So.
What the fuck did he just say?
Next stop.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to understand it. Anyways, buy our merch. There's this. We have all this and so much more. It's available till April 8th, and we got pins, socks.
Yeah.
This very nice jacket.
It's a loud jacket.
Lots of pins. It's great, and you can purchase it and wear it. It looks very cool, and it supports the show. But if you want to support the show in another way, we have a Patreon. Links down in the description below. Also, check out the recent episode of Tech News Day, and also check out Weekly Weird News from last week, because it's a doozy. We'll be back for one more episode this week. It's Weekly Weird News that we're going to be doing because we're leaving early Friday morning for my bachelor party.
I'm going to hit the slopes on my skis, because I don't snowboard, I ski.
Yeah, we're going up to the mountain to smoke some weed.
Nah, not me. I gotta be at peak performance.
I might hit the indica, put me to sleep.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what Batman uses against the bad guys.
Oh, yeah.
Here, just smoke this.
Smoke this. See, he's not dead, he's couch stuck.
Batman doesn't smoke weed. All right, we'll see you guys next time.
Everyone's always like, Batman doesn't smoke weed. He fucking smokes weed. I'm Zack Snyder. Goodbye.
Welcome to reality, bitch.